Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Moshe Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Moshe Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Moshe Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Moshe Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Moshe Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Moshe Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Moshe Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Missing by Mian Moshe Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with an amazing author and writer of his new book coming out on Beacon Publishing called The Hawthorne Blow, and it's based about what happened in Lake Superior, and we'll talk about that, almost similar to of the Evan Fitzgerald, and just hauntingly somehow similar. He's also an FBI agent. He's lived in several states, and currently in the upper part of Michigan, and he just has an amazing story to tell, and lots of really good stories about the Hawthorne Blow and more. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studio somewhere in upper Michigan or somewhere in the U.S., wherever he's at, ladies and gentlemen, the very talented author of the Hawthorne Blow, Matthew Hellman. Matt, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Yep, thank you, Mike.
It's great to have you on board, too. So you're an author of the book Hawthorne Blow, and you've been writing for some time as well, too. You've lived in several states. You're currently in the upper Michigan as well, too, and you have a very unique job as an FBI agent, and also you lived in several states, and stories inspired by real-life experiences, and you just had an amazing story, an amazing journey to tell. And before getting to all that and talking about your book, tell us how you first got started, Matt.
Well, actually, I got a degree from Michigan Technological University in electrical engineering, and while I was getting the degree, I started a hobby of doing stand-up comedy.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, and I had a monologue that I would do, and even after graduating, I continued doing that a little bit, but I discovered a venue called Comedy Sports, which there are franchises all around the U.S. that is improv comedy, and basically you have two teams of comedians on stage competing in kind of predefined games, but you get the subject matter suggested to you from the audience. And doing that, I had just a blast, because you never knew as a comedian what was going to happen on stage. And that was a real good taste of entertaining. And doing that, I met and hung around with a lot of very creative people, of course. And I kind of had this bug even back then to start writing, creating stories that people would enjoy. So that's where the initial seed was planted. But Comedy Sports was unique because you had to make everything up as you went. There was nothing that you had memorized. It was just off the cuff, instantly. And that, I think, was very helpful for the creative process, too, because I've discovered as I write, I will get a thought that comes from somewhere in the ether, and I'm able to grab that thought and kind of run with it and turn it into a story, which is essentially what we were doing on stage then. So after doing that, I worked as an engineer, and as a hobby, I did the Comedy Sports. I ended up then, for my job, my engineering job, traveling to Brazil.
Wow.
And I was down there for 3 months during Carnival. And what an eye-opener that was. That must have been 1995. And I learned a lot from just being abroad, in that it taught me how to relax. The Brazilians are very good at not getting stressed out pretty much about anything. And it was unique coming from the United States, where everything is go, move, everything is critical, time critical. And we got down there, and one of the interesting, a good way to illustrate what I mean is we were starting up the first continuous caster steel mill in Brazil. This was a big deal, and this was a huge company They had their own fire department, their own library, their own preschool. I mean, it was massive.
Wow.
As we got closer to the startup date, one of our pieces of equipment failed. Something broke on it. Yeah, and unfortunately, the replacement part, there wasn't one in Brazil. So we had to get one shipped down from the United States. Well, it wasn't going to make it down in time to make the startup date, and our team lead had to go to the president of this massive company and say, we're not going to make the startup date. And of course, we were all kind of like, man, I'm glad it's you and not me, because I wouldn't want to, have to take the chewing you're going to get. He went in and he told the president, bad news, one of the pieces broke, can't get a replacement part in time to meet your startup date. Mm-hmm. And the president of the company looked at him and said, when will the part be here? And he said, 2 days after the startup date. And the president said, yeah, he says, we'll change the startup date. And that was it.
That was all getting worked up over like 2 days startup day in Brazil. Oh my goodness. I think we'll flock there and do some business. Okay. We'll change the startup date. In America, you'd say you're fired or something. So, wow. Oh, what an eye opener.
Well, that's just kind of the way they looked at life. If you can't change it, well, deal with it and move on. And that really helped me relax in my day-to-day life. And in the writing process, it's also helpful, because there are some things that, as you're writing, you hear of writer's block a lot. And, if you get to a point in your story where you can't move on, I say, okay, well, I'm going to skip to a different part of the story then and continue writing, because I don't need to write it in a chronological fashion necessarily. I can put scenes together and fill in the holes. So I always try to keep moving forward regardless of what lay in front of me. So
that is an interesting approach, because I've seen some writers try to go from start to finish to get several writing blocks. It sounds to me the way you describe the process, you write one scene, write another scene, and later you go and put it together. It almost sounds like putting together a movie, shooting different scenes, then piecing it together. Like it looks like it went from start to finish, but you just one scene of this, one scene of that, and just put everything together. That is very amazing.
Yeah, it works for me. A lot of people, everyone writes differently, and generally I'll kind of plot things out ahead of time to some degree, but I always have ideas for scenes, and I have to get them out. I have to write them, and when I write those, a lot of times what will happen is, like I told you before, you get that little seed, that thought that comes in, and you go, wow, I could go here with this story. And sometimes that gives rise to subplots or a whole list of additional scenes. And writing for me is a lot like reading for the readers, because you don't necessarily know what's coming next.
Right.
And that's very entertaining.
It does sound very entertaining as well, too. And what was that one precise moment that influenced you into becoming an author? It's like, think about that one precise moment where that one instance and just simply lights up and says, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life or my career.
Well, the one precise moment, I guess it would be, I had, and this is kind of funny because my previous novel, Solomon's Seal, was published in November of 2019, and that was kind of the story, my first novel, that was based on my inspiration. And basically, I was sitting at a table. We were living in upstate New York, and I was sitting at a table in our dining room, looking out the patio doors, and we backed up to acres and acres of woods. And I was looking out there, and there's probably, excuse me, about 70 yards between the house and the wood line. And as I was looking out there, all of a sudden I thought I saw something move, something big go past in the shadows. And I didn't see anything, but it made me think, now what if there was a trail camera out there and caught, let's say, a mountain lion? That would have been very interesting, or a bear or something like that. And I thought, well, what if I had a trail camera out there and it caught something else, something wicked, something dark and dangerous and unknown to man. And the seeds of a short story came to mind, and I wrote a short story where that's precisely what happens. Basically, the guy has a trail cam taking video, and some dark shape all of a sudden rushes it, and the video goes, to static. And he and his family then later are attacked by this creature in their home. Well, that short story, I wrote that short story, and a few years ago showed it to a friend of mine who's also a published author, John Fortunato, and he read it and he said, well, this isn't a short story. This is the first chapter of your novel.
Amazing. I like that. Yeah, parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 25. I can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing about that is there's so little from that short story that actually appears in the novel now.
Oh, my gosh.
Because just through revisions and everything else, some of the concept is still there, but it certainly expanded a lot. But I think it was in that moment sitting there just thinking, what if I saw something unusual out in the woods? And I wanted to capture that in words, and having really thoroughly enjoyed entertaining people on the stage. Being in the FBI, being on the stage is not an option right now. So,
well, that's a given, unless you do it by Zoom or Skype or virtual or anything like that. And I also read an article, too, where they're taking things like doing things outside, like outdoor classrooms, outdoor theater, outdoor everything. It's like, don't worry about the inside, just take everything outside. That's been a new thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, even aside from that, the Bureau just, if you're an agent, you're prohibited from outside work, essentially, which, in performing on stage, they would probably frown on that.
Right.
Perhaps.
Exactly. Or in case the president happens to be there, too. So,
Right. Yep. But the performing, I enjoyed that. I like to entertain. And writing was something I can do in my own time. I don't need a contract. I'm not on salary. I can write or not. It's up to me, and it works perfectly with what I'm currently doing, and it would certainly be something I would enjoy doing in retirement as well, which is what I'm hoping for, to establish a good readership, get my skills absolutely maxed out so that by the time I do retire, which is in a few short years, I will be able to construct stories and novels that everyone wants to read and everyone enjoys.
Mm-hmm. And that's so amazing, too. We'll talk a little more about how you got involved with the FBI, a little bit more about your comedy, your books, and more. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout-out to our official sponsor, international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by me and Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion, and those you love be the first to go missing. Available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by me and Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Missing by me and Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. And follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with author of the book out on Beacon Publishing, The Hawthorne Blow, here on The Mike Wagner Show. He was graduated from Michigan Tech in electrical engineering. He worked in Brazil. He's a stand-up comedian. And also did a little bit of work as an FBI agent. And before we get more into about the book, The Hawthorne Blow, and how did you first get involved with the FBI?
Well, that's a good question. When I got done with the project in Brazil, it was kind of, I was still fairly young in engineering, and it was a great success. And however, I still felt a little desire to do something else, something more. And what really hit me, I was living in Minneapolis at the time, and a young man by the name of Jacob Wetterling was abducted in St. Cloud. I believe it was St. Cloud, Minnesota, at gunpoint. He was 9 years old, and he was with his cousin and a friend, if I recall correctly. And he was abducted and never seen again.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, I wish I was doing something other than sitting here wishing I could do something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, kind of out of the fog, the idea of the FBI started coming to me. And I did some research, and I thought, well, I'm an electrical engineer. They probably have electrical engineers. They do, electronic surveillance and things of that nature. So I reached out to the local office and asked them, if they have jobs for double E's. And they sent me an application for a special agent, a gun-toting agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought, it's not really what I was thinking. I was thinking more of like a lab position or engineering research position. And I called them up and said, hey, do you have anything in that realm? And they said, well, you pretty much only get to the engineering research facility if you're an agent first.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I went, all right. So I applied for the position, and the whole hiring process at that time, it took me a year and a half.
Oh, my.
The whole process. And during that process, I became more and more excited about the prospect of becoming an agent and what I would be doing and how I would feel about doing it. So that was kind of how things started rolling. And once we got to the point where they said, yeah, you've passed all the tests, you're good to go, I was chomping at the bit at that point.
It sounds very exciting. Secret Agent Man by Johnny Rivers is running through my head right now. Go ahead and continue. Oh my! But yeah, you also continue on as well too. A little bit of work as well too. And I guess the question is kind of is that how do you manage to put everything all together? That's the thing. With you got an electrical engineering, stand-up comedy, FBI agent, and also writing, and how you manage to put it together, and also maybe some other things that also put things together as an author. I mean, what you do is just so amazing.
Well, I do way too much. I'm the first to admit I'm kind of a jack of all trades, and even my hobbies are kind of constructive. I'm a home brewer, and that portion of my hobbies was even kind of tainted by my engineering background and wanting to know how things work. And when I started homebrewing, I kind of thought, well, back in the day when, how did people brew beer? They certainly didn't go to the beer store and buy a package of yeast to, ferment their wort. And so I began to capture my own brewing yeast in the wild. And
wow.
And use that to make some beers. And that was an adventure because you could get some that were, the very first one I captured and made a beer from, I'll be honest, the beer tasted like dirt. It was awful.
Hey, that's a good one on the market. Dirt beer available now. I like that. Dirt beer.
Exactly. But I had others that produced some decent tasting beer, unique flavors, and some of them were, some were good, some were bad. It's kind of like fishing. You might catch an eel, you might catch bass. You don't know what you're going to catch and how good it's going to be. So I do that, and just bringing it all together, it kind of comes down to managing my time because I just enjoy doing too many things. But at the same time, doing all that stuff gives me a lot of life experiences, a lot of different insights, a lot of different outlooks that I can bring to the stories and to the characters in the stories. Because obviously I've met a lot of interesting characters, both doing homebrewing and as an FBI agent, and having gone to Brazil as an engineer, meet some very, very interesting people.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, with the people that you meet as well, too. And are those factor in the book, Salmon Seal, and also the Hawthorne Blow?
Oh, yes. Yep. With Hawthorne Blow, as far as experiences and researching things like that, I like to put some thread of truth in my stories. And by that, obviously, there's a lot of truth in them. But usually I like to get something unique to pull from reality. In the Hawthorne Blow, there's a story, and I'm not going to give away the spoiler, but there is a story about a shipwreck on Lake Superior, and I will say this much: it was in 1886, and when I read the story about what happened with that particular shipwreck, I thought to myself, well, that is a good basis for a horror story right there.
Oh, wow.
And that is integral to the Hawthorne Blow. Mm-hmm. And if someone wants to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, they can go to MatthewHellmanAuthor.com and find my links there. I will be dropping hints in the next month or two as to what that event was, if they're interested. Someone who's very interested will probably be able to find it on their own. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of a creepy story when I read it, and I thought, man, that's got to be part of a novel I write, or in this case, a novella. Mm-hmm. With Solomon Seal, I also discovered the story of St. Anthony the Great, who went into a crypt or tomb overnight, apparently to battle some demons, or was attacked by demons while he was in there, and his assistant or friend went in the next morning and pulled him out, and he was all tore up. His body was, as they said, marked with stripes where he had been clawed and ripped at, and they tried to get him some medical help, and he said, no, bring me back in there. I have to battle these demons and finish them. And they brought him back in, and he is able to do the job and has a conversation with God and so forth. But that story comes to life in Solomon Seal with one of the characters in such a way that I had written a great deal of that book before I even discovered the story about St. Anthony the Great, and it just matched up so perfectly with the main protagonist. that I was like, I have to include this somehow. And I did work that in the form of the Order of St. Anthony in Solomon's Seal, which is kind of a little society that appears in that book.
That is amazing. And where can we find Solomon's Seal at?
That's available at any bookseller, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Powell's Books, Hudson Books. It's available both in paperback, in e-reader. You could go to your local independent bookstore and ask them to order it, and they can get it in for you.
We certainly will do so, and we're going to talk more about the Hawthorne Blow and what's coming up for author Matthew Hellman here on the Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs, and brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosen-Zia of Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with author Matthew Hellman after this timeout on the Mike Wagner Show.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host, and I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mia Mosen-Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamosenzia.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We are back with author Matthew Hellman of Beacon Publishing, the Hawthorne Blow here on The Mike Wagner Show. And Matthew, just listening to what you're saying about the Hawthorne Blow taking place in Lake Superior, what first got you interested in that case?
Well, I live on the very, very, very close to Lake Superior, and I see it every day when I drive to work. Mm-hmm. And it is, for someone who's never seen it, it is like looking at the ocean. I mean, you can be in the middle of it in a boat and not see shore anywhere. It's massive. And, it's got the same approximate surface area as South Carolina. So it's it's a big, big lake. But it's so big and so deep, and my mind wanting to come up with a horror story. And I also enjoy ghost stories. And I thought, there are or have been a lot of shipwrecks on Lake Superior. And I thought, what a unique setting for a ghost ship story. What better setting than Lake Superior? Something that's cold and deep, and storms come up. I remember as a young man going fishing on Lake Superior with my grandfather and my father in just a small ski boat, essentially. We were just going to do some trolling not far from shore. And we got out there. It was a beautiful summer day, not a cloud in the sky. And we're trolling in about 280 feet of water. And we can see shore. Shore is probably only about 2 or 3 miles away from us, and we're cruising along. Also, my grandfather said, "Reel it up, we got to go." And I said, "What? Why do we have to go?" He said, "A storm's coming." And I said, "What are you talking about, storm's coming?" And I looked toward the western horizon. Now, the western horizon was probably about 6 miles distant, maybe not quite that far. And just above the tree line was a thin line of gray.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, okay, that's a long ways off. And we got to get going right now. And, you got to reel in 300 feet of line. So I'm reeling in as fast as I can go, and he says, hurry up. And in the meantime, he's trolling us back towards the breakwater. Long story short, before we ever got anywhere near that breakwater, we were going over 4-foot swells in this little boat, and you can't take those fast because you go up one side and you come down the other. If you come down too hard, you drive the bow right into the surface of the next wave. He did that once, and water came over the bow and came flowing past our feet, and that was melancholy as a kid, because that's ice cold water, and I'm going, good grief, are we going to get sunk out here? And so my grandfather had to start taking the swells in a little different manner, so that didn't happen again, but that made our progress that much slower. Ultimately, we made it to the breakwater about the time that clouds were blowing over the top of us, and we were fine. But seeing how fast that storm came in, and how we had no warning, that you can see how mariners out there could run into trouble. Mm-hmm. And so I've had some interesting experiences on Lake Superior, and just knowing about the shipwrecks out there, I thought, well, yeah, this would, if I'm going to do a story about Lake Superior, a horror story about Lake Superior, I think it should be a ghost ship.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, this goes back to 1886, and, a very unique story. And, there's also wrecks of the Edmund Fitzgerald that took place in Lake Superior. It's a Gordon Lightfoot song everybody knows, and, several others. But the 1886, shipwreck is like, what was so particular about that?
Well, that one, what was unique about that is it sank in relatively shallow water.
Shallow water, really?
Yeah, well, 20, 25 feet of water, which in Lake Superior is nothing. Mm-hmm. But it happened in November during, basically a winter storm. And when it sank, some of the masts, it was a 3-mast schooner, still stuck up above the water. And the next day, they found 3 of the crew members clinging to the mast and frozen in 3 inches of ice.
Wow.
Dead. Yeah. Not a way I'd want to go.
Who does, especially in these times, but yeah, it's just, having about, how they passed on and everything. And of course, also, just basically a way to save, race against time, and, just an amazing story I got.
Yeah, and that was very inspirational for the Hawthorne Blow. And the Hawthorne Blow is basically, in the real instance, it was the Lucerne, and they named it the Lucerne Blow. The storm was called the Lucerne Blow that sank the ship. So that's kind of where the Hawthorne Blow title came from.
Okay. And where can we find the Hawthorne Blow at?
That's also available at Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. It's available on Kindle, Hudson Books Sellers, Powell Books, Walmart. Any independent bookstore can order it. So yeah, it's available. It's out there. You can go to beaconpublishinggroup.com and see links to all the books there to a variety of booksellers as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's very amazing. Once again, author Matthew Hellman of the Hawthorne Blow here on the Mike Wagner Show, courtesy of Beacon Publishing. Matthew, a very big thank you for your time. It's been absolutely fantastic. Just a few more things here. We'd love to have back on in 2021 and beyond. And what can we expect from you this year and the next?
Well, I just finished up another full-length novel, another horror novel, kind of a crucible story. In other words, a small town gets isolated and attacked by a creature, and they have to deal with it.
and of course, we're looking forward to that as well, too, and we'd love to have you back on and talk more about it. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career, Matt?
The biggest influence in my career, I would have to say probably Stephen King. It's probably cliche, but I've read a variety of his stories, and he can go from, just creepy horror, and he can scare you with very basic things, big scary spiders, to something like The Green Mile or Joyland, which are a little more literary and intriguing, not so horror-oriented, more a little supernatural and just really good storytelling. And I enjoy that and appreciate really good storytelling.
That sounds amazing. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
The best advice is do not give up and be open to any and all criticism and constructive criticism, because without it, you can't get better.
Right, exactly, and that's very important. Once again, author Matthew Hellman of Hawthorne Blow here on the Mike Wagner Show, courtesy of Beacon Publishing. Matt, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely great. Looking forward to having you again soon. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books?
I have a website that's MatthewHellmanAuthor.com. You can also go to beaconpublishinggroup.com, and I'm on their website, and they'll have links to booksellers for all my books. A lot of the booksellers are, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Hudson Books, Powell Books, Walmart. There's a whole variety listed there that you can buy it from, and you can go to your local independent bookseller and order it if you'd like.
We certainly will do that. Once again, Matt, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And don't forget to keep in touch as well, too. And I'd love to hear more of your stories.
Great. Well, thank you very much for having me on, Mike.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.